Hello and welcome to Yoga with Alicia. This my YouTube channel which aims to bring good quality yoga guidance to all of you who choose to tune in. Today we are looking at sitting happily in Sukhanasana, cross-legged position. It's a pose that we all done as children. And there's absolutely no reason why we should have lost the ability to sit happily. So that's what we are going to focus on today, Sukhanasana. This position is for those of you who already can sit cross-legged. If currently you are unable to, that does not mean that you have to stop watching and listening, because this video will bring you insight and give you something to aim for. It will bring you an abundance of physical benefit for your present and future health. So do continue to watch and listen. You will learn how to get yourself into a cross-legged position. You will learn and experience how to sit deep. Ground your base. Mobilize, open and release your ankle, knee and hip joints. You will be able to find correct foot alignment. You'll learn and experience how to lift from the root, the base of you, and elevate upwards. You'll begin to be able to peel away the outer self. You'll gain acceptance on a deeper level. You will commence true communication with the body. You'll start letting go of rigidity, and you'll understand your physiological flow. So let's get started. Bringing yourself into a cross-legged position, and you can do this by sitting on the floor, having your legs stretched out straight to begin with. You're going to ensure that your sitting bones are both touching the floor and that all this upper body weight is distributing equally within your two sitting bones. Now you'll think about all this area here around the pelvic girdle and the waistline, and you'll begin to elevate everything upwards to give you some space. You will think of picking your hip joints up and away from your femur bones, your thigh bones. At the top of the thigh bone, you have like a knuckle, and it allows the hip joint to sit on top. So if you think of lifting the hip, you will gain space that will then be able to allow that hip to rotate and move a bit more freely than it might do at the moment. From this position here, lifting, rising, creating space, tuning into the breath, you'll draw your right foot in towards your perineum. You'll bring the heel of the right foot in. Now, don't judge yourself if it doesn't come in straight away. You can have it out a little way, and it's just about adapting, adjusting, and feeling. You can release that leg, and then breathing in, draw the opposite foot in, the left foot, or vice versa, whichever way you started. Bring the heel as close in as you can, or have it further out to begin with. And just give a moment or two to settle and feel. To begin crossing the legs in, you can bring the same hand off the leg and get those fingers underneath the knee and pull a bit of flesh out to create some space as you pull it in and bring it round to rest. And then see with the opposite hand, we're on the left side possibly, so it will be left hand underneath left knee, and you're literally just bringing a bit of flesh out of the way so that you can then cross that in. And then you'll do vice versa. So you'll bring the left foot in first, and you can do it by pulling some flesh out the way. It's your skin, you can handle it how you will, and just bring that leg in. Opposite side, right hand, get the fingers behind the back of that knee, pull a bit of flesh out the way, and bring the leg into a cross. And remember, take your time, there is no rush. Even if at the moment you can only just bring the legs to here, that's okay. In time, they will start crossing in. Now, you want to try and cross the shins at around the same area on both legs. And then once that's done, you can begin to soften in the hips, release in the knees, and settle and relax. Keep the body rising up. Ensure your head and shoulders are directly over your hips. So avoid slumping. If you slump, your rib cage is going to press down into the stomach. It's going to create obstruction to your circulatory system. So you want to keep that nice elevated, ascending position. And then you'll just uncross and recross in the opposite direction. What you do on one side, you do to both. So once you're in this cross-legged position, and for some of you that are in the early days of processing into this position, it takes time. There should be no pain, no discomfort. If you are feeling uncomfortable, it's possibly because you're trying to get ahead too soon. You have to soften, relax, and let go to become flexible and supple. This is the journey of releasing rigidity. If we become too rigid and get tight and stiff, that can lead to breakage. But if we soften and let go, then we become flexible and supple. So for those of you with us that can sit cross-legged, happily, Sukhanasana, let's take ourselves into a forward flexion of the spine, whereby in the deepness of this pose, we can then really begin to communicate internally. So both sitting bones stay connected with the floor, the mat beneath you, the earth, if you like. You'll notice as you begin to take the descending flow forward, your buttocks might start to lift, and you want to avoid this. So if you close the eyes, you'll be able to tune in on a deeper level. Soften around your shoulders, unclench your teeth, and breathe. Ask yourself, is your breath shallow, or is it deep and deepening? It's very beneficial to have nice, deep breaths, for they help to soothe the nervous system. It aids drawing in greater amounts of oxygen, which will feed and nourish you. And just scan the body now for any pockets of tension you might be holding on to, and any that you can surrender. Possibly start around the jawline. Check if you're clenching your teeth and you can release these. Relax your neck, and throat muscles. And feel the positioning of your feet. You might even feel better drawing your toes further forward in front of you, rather than having them going out in opposite directions. You might feel that the alignment of the feet help cradle the shins with more comfort. Just take your time to have a little bit of a movement with your feet and see if there's greater comfort there. You might like to, at this point, even cross over, change the position to the other side. We will do both sides with the forward bend. Again, checking in. And go right down to your seat, right down to your pubis and the lowest pelvic floor and the lowest point of your spine, the coccyx. And start to lift there. Start to raise the flesh externally. Begin to elevate the stomach internally. Hook on to this natural rising up that will come with every breath in. You'll feel it. You'll want to ascend. You'll want to rise up and lift the flesh externally as well as the organs internally. And think about the whole of the torso, the trunk of the body, and not just the front, but the sides and the back. Take your mind deep down into your seat, into your sit bones, into the flesh of the buttocks, and you can even take your hands round and just lift the flesh of the buttocks up to the small of the back, and then feel the flesh around the lower back, around the kidneys. Can you pick that up, lift that up? And as you do so, it gives you the impetus to begin the forward flexion. Bring the fingertips out in front of you. Take your time. Avoid folding at the upper body. You have a joint in the upper spine here, and for most of us, we'll tend to, when we do a forward bend, immediately bend at that joint. But you are bending at the hips. The origin of the forward flexion of the spine is at the hips. So tune in to the hips. Lift them and hinge forward from them. So at the moment, you've still got a nice straight spine. And every breath in, you're remembering to pull up pubis deep down to navel, navel to breastbone, breastbone to third eye to crown and beyond. And as all this is rising at the front, so too it is lifting at the back, at the sides, and you can reach those fingers forward. Again, checking in, softening the shoulders, avoid having them up here by your ears. The breath out, sigh it out, let go. Once your fingertips on the floor, you can allow the palms of hands to the heels of the hands to settle. From there, you might like to just flex the elbows down once, twice, 3 times. And then you begin to release the back of the neck. Get rid of those creases in the back of the neck. Allow the head to start to drop forward. Stay tuned with your breath. Deep breaths that continually deepen. And if you close your eyes, you can begin to communicate internally Pressing down into your sit bones, lifting the pubis to the navel, rising the tummy upward to create space in that pelvic girdle. And when you're ready to ascend, to restack the bones of your spine, pull your stomach in. Engage the stomach muscles. They're supporting your spine as it rises. And you return to your central position. Nice deep breath in through the nostrils. Feel the elevation as you do so. And release the breath. And then let's change to the other side. So you'll uncross the feet and recross. And in between, if you feel that you need to give the legs a little bit of a straighten or a little bit of a shake or any movement that you choose, then do so. Refold, recross, rethink about placement of the feet. Sometimes we generally just let those toes splay outward, but bringing them forward to make a nice flat sole of foot can help. It can make the position slightly more comfortable. So you're back in your central pose, sitting bones connected with your mat. This is where you sit deep, firmly at your base, rising up through your centre. And then begin the descent. The hinging over at the hips, first and foremost. The picking up internally of the organs. It's the communication of the mind to the body. And if you take it slowly, this gives time for the body to receive the instruction, to digest the instruction, and then to comply. Just taking your time. And when you get to a point where you feel is your edge, then take the mind into the torso and the flesh and just see if there's any pockets that are not getting involved. Any parts that you might be able to utilise to give you that bit more space, that bit more stretch. Once the fingertips are forward, can the palms of the hands come down, the heels of the hands connect? Once there, can you then flex the elbows down, say once, twice, 3 times? Can you then begin to release the creases from the back of the neck? Check that your teeth are still unclenched. When you concentrate, it's quite usual for the teeth to clench, but this makes contraction in the jawline and it holds some tension there. We want to reverse all that. The softer you can become, the easier suppleness and flexibility can start to flow. And remember, as you're further forward in your bend, check that the sitting bones are still pressing down into the mat, that the weight is equal onto both left and right sitting bone and flesh of buttocks. And then engage the stomach. As you restack the bones of the spine, keep the chin down toward the chest until the shoulders are above the hips, and then you can bring the chin to become parallel with the mat. Give yourself a moment or two to allow all new levels of oxygen to settle and to become aware of how you feel both internally and externally. With your hands in Namaste, bring them to the third eye, and then bow in, bring in mind intelligence to heart and body intelligence, with thanks for your ability to sit happy. We'll see you next time.